In an ideal world, we could see if players from different eras could compete with today's players. Would Magic be able to compete with Nash and Iverson? Would Jordan and Kobe square off? Howard or Russell? Who would be the most dominant center? These are all questions that fans like to ponder and imagine answers to. When determining a starting five, it is based solely on the basketball skills a player has demonstrated throughout their career, not how many championships or awards they have received. Hello and welcome to Limitless Basketball, which is all about the NBA and its best moments. Today, let's look at the best starting five for the NBA and figure out why they are the best. Number 5. Point guard, Magic Johnson.
It's the perfect name for him because when he gets on the court, he is magic.
During the 1980s, Magic Johnson and his showy Lakers put on some clinics against their opponents. Johnson averaged 19.5 points, 11.2 assists, and 7.2 rebounds per game. These numbers are astounding, and they only scratch the surface of the type of player Johnson was. Johnson could be described in a single word: swagger. He had it, played with it, and was it most of all. It was evident how he played, passed the ball, and carried himself on the court. There was no challenge Magic would be afraid of, and nothing would make him back down. He altered the way the position of point guard was played. During his tenure, Magic made some of the most inventive passes in the game. In terms of size, he was not the prototypical point guard. He was tall and lanky with a basketball IQ that was off the charts. On the court, his vision was one of the strongest assets. If he had to be compared to current players, it would be Rajon Rondo's skills and the size of Gerald Wallace's body. Number 4. Shooting guard, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is and will always be the greatest player to play the game. He revolutionized the sport and was one of the first players to become a household name worldwide. He was marketed to every corner of the globe, and at the peak of his career, the likelihood of people having heard his name was close to 100%. Jordan's dominance on the court, combined with his own personal flair for theatrics, ultimately defined his career. He was athletic enough to go up for a dunk with one hand, only to switch to the other for even a more difficult layup. Some may wonder why he did it, but the answer is simple: he could. Even the final shot of his career came in the form of an NBA Finals playoff clincher against the Utah Jazz. It stands to reason that the best players' careers will end with a fairy tale ending. Jordan finished his career with 30.1 points, 2.3 steals, 5.3 assists, and 6.2 rebounds per game. Not to mention that during the playoffs, he averaged 33.4 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 5.7 assists. Never before has an average like this been achieved in the history of the NBA playoffs. With 32,292 points, he ranks third all-time behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Karl Malone. He finished his career as a 6-time NBA champion, 5-time NBA MVP, 12-time All-Star, and 6-time NBA Finals MVP. Michael Jordan is an exceptional player. The day the league lost him, the league lost the greatest player of all time. Number 3. Small forward, LeBron James. LeBron James is a one-of-a-kind player. We haven't seen a player with Jordan's physical prowess who dominates the game. James is 6'9" and weighs around 275 pounds. He also has a vertical leap in the low 40s. As evidenced by some of his dunks, there is no stopping him when he takes flight unless he commits a foul. In his 8 years in the league, James amassed stats that rivaled those of the greats. He has a season average of 27.7 points, 7 assists, and 7.1 rebounds. He's averaged 28 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 7 assists in the playoffs. What makes James so valuable is not just his scoring ability, which is unrivaled, but his ability to have a triple-double on any given night. He possesses a rare combination of vision, power, and dexterity. Even though his career is still in its early stages, his statistics are strikingly similar to those of future Hall of Famer Jason Kidd. They both scored well in all categories other than points. Unfortunately, people will find it difficult to accept his greatness until he wins a championship. He's already won 2 NBA MVPs, 7 All-Star appearances, 2 All-Defensive Team selections, and the 2004 Rookie of the Year award. Having LeBron James in the starting lineup adds a player who can rebound, drive, dish out, and generally do whatever the team requires. Number 2. Power forward Tim Duncan. Duncan began as a swimmer and didn't start playing basketball until 9th grade, when Hurricane Hugo destroyed the only Olympic-sized pool in his hometown of St. Croix, U.S., Virgin Islands. He played basketball for St. Dunstan's Episcopal in high school. Duncan played for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons in college, where he received the John Wooden Award, the Naismith College Player of the Year, and the USBWA College Player of the Year in his senior year. Tim Duncan, or the Big Fundamental as he is affectionately known, is approaching the end of his 14-year career in the NBA. It would be a shame, however, if people forgot about the days when he would rip defenses apart with his patented bank shot. He has averaged 20.6 points and 11.4 rebounds per game in his career. Maintaining those figures over 14 years is impressive. His stats only increase during playoffs, as they should for a champion. He averaged 22.7 points and 12.4 rebounds in the playoffs. He was a great team player as well as a great defensive player. Duncan was named to 13 all-defensive teams, appeared in 13 All-Star games, and won 4 championships. His honors are among the best, and it is difficult to deny that he was one of the best players ever to play that position. In addition to the 4 championships, he was named Finals MVP in 3 of the 4. Duncan was also named NBA MVP twice in 2001-02 and 2002-03. It is unusual to see a down-low position with that level of recognition. Even today's best center, Dwight Howard, cannot imagine doing what Duncan has done. Tim Duncan is one of the greatest players in NBA history. He has demonstrated poise and dominance in stressful situations. It's difficult to argue that he'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame when he retires, and his place in basketball history will be sealed. Number 1. Center, Shaquille O'Neal. This one was difficult because there have been so many great and dominant big men in the game's history. Bill Russell, Dwight Howard, Patrick Ewing, and a list of others come to mind. However, what tipped the scales in Shaq's favor was that there has never been a more athletic big man to play the game when he first entered the league. People went crazy whenever he got a rebound and led a fast break. It was difficult to imagine a 7'1" center running coast to coast and finishing with a dunk. Shaq would post up defenders like he was in a JV league, and his one-dribble drop-step dunks were among the most athletic moves ever seen by a center. He won 3 NBA titles with the Los Angeles Lakers and 1 with the Miami Heat. He averaged 23.7 points and 10.9 rebounds per game during his career. During the playoffs, he averaged 24.3 points and 11.6 rebounds per game and could score 60 points on any given night. O'Neal is also 5th all-time in scoring, trailing only Kareem, Wilt, Jordan, and Malone. It's a good list to be on. As if his statistics weren't impressive enough, he was nominated for 15 All-Star games and was named Finals MVP in 3 of the 4 championships he won. During his time with the Lakers, the game had almost no better center. There hasn't been a center since his playing days who could put up the numbers and play with the absolute dominance that he did. In April 2014, O'Neal shared an Instagram photo of himself mocking Jamal Binion, who has dermal dysplasia. O'Neal apologized publicly, saying he and Binion had spoken and that he'd made a friend today. Binion would later sue O'Neal for a sum greater than $25,000. Binion dropped the lawsuit in 2016 after settling with O'Neal. Every game, the NBA teams with the best starting lineups have an inherent advantage. When you win the first 5 or 6 minutes of each half, your opponent often finds it difficult to close the gap throughout the game. This is where the best lineups took advantage. Thanks for watching the video. Please leave a like and share the video with your friends and family.